So not many people come here because you have to fly in or boat in. There's no roads in.
I grew up with no running water in a cabin. To build a new one like this, $380. And you're gonna get better as you go. We used to be the biggest herring volume. That's gone, wiped out.
Don't the natives have some sort of protection near their
Well,
land?
you think they would.
Oh, he's TV.
Tell them who you were and who your dad was.
So what's your feeling about big oil?
They could say, oh, you're not gonna go fishing anymore and wipe out our whole industry.
Is this the part of the story where you leave me on the island?
Row! I used to be in the top 20.
What's the top 20 make? But nobody's gonna do that at a restaurant.
Oh, I would. They opened it up to hook and release. When you hook and release, those fish die. I get up, I have my quiet cup of coffee with God.
You never want to stop.
I'd like to do this the rest of my life.
Good morning, guys. Here in Alaska, fishing is a way of life for many. In Cordova, it is the way of life. A lot of the fish that end up on these boats go to your restaurant tables in the lower 48 or around the world. So today we have the great privilege to meet up with a local legend, a multi-generational fisherman who's gonna bring us behind the scenes to this world. Let's do this.
That's when my grandpa came in 1918 with his family.
1918 from where?
1918 from, he came from, I think, Washington, but he was from Norway.
So this is what a boat looks like.
So this is what a boat looks like. And I named this Crystal Falls because right here is Crystal Falls. And I remember going down there as a child with my mother before the earthquake.
Okay.
And Cordova's right here.
Okay.
And you used to be able to go, before the earthquake, you could take a barge all the way through the lake, and come up here, and that's how they hauled supplies down.
Yep.
And in the wintertime, when it froze over, they'd use dog teams to haul supplies down.
So not many people come here because you have to fly in or boat in. There's no roads in, right?
Right. You have to fly in, boat in.
Yep.
And this is what Crystal Falls looked back in the day in 1930s.
And so you go out and sleep on this?
I sleep on this, stay nice. Sometimes I'll go out for a week at a time. Sometimes I'll go out for like 7 or 8, 9 days to do shrimping in the spring. My little kitchen, my little sink, and then there's a little burner here, propane burner that I cook all my food on.
Okay, great.
And then if I hooked up to shore power, I can use my microwave, my little baby microwave. But I've never used it. The paperwork's still on it. I use it for storage.
Here's mission control.
Yeah, mission control, you got to turn batteries on. And I hate radios because that's all I listened to with my dad when I grew up sailing on his boat. So I just turned my radios off.
You like silence? I
like quiet time, big time. And
is that a big draw to this? Just being away with nature, away from everything, the quietness?
Yeah, you know, I could send you some pictures. It's just absolutely beautiful, and it's always different. Whether it's even a little yucky, it's still different. Everything's always changing. Mountains are losing their snow, the salmon berries are coming out. You know, I mean, in the spring when we first get started, you know, and it's pretty cold. You see moose swimming across the river, and, you know, things like that. Bears out along sandbars. So it's always something new to see. This is a friend of mine that went to school with me, played ball with me. His son, he's 3rd generation.
So how does this work? Are most of these boat owners independent? Or
Yeah,
they
they're all independent.
They're all independent.
Everybody's an independent, and that kills us because we can't get together and settle a fair price for the season. So we starve, and the companies, the canneries, make billions. This year we got the lowest price we ever got in probably 20 years, 30 years for a copper of a reds on the grounds.
With the highest cost, probably.
With the highest cost.
Because gas.
Fuel price is double what it was last year.
Double?
Double. Just to go on that gill netter a year, just to go on that gill netter, it cost me $6,000 to fish 4 months. You know, so you have for every year. So every year I go gill netting, it's cost me $30,000 just to go fishing before I even make a dime.
So it's becoming more challenging?
It's becoming more challenging. If I didn't market my fish and I depended on just the canneries, I would starve. I would not be able to make enough money to feed me through the winter, pay my bills, just my bills, and I have no payments because I've been in it for 52 years.
How much is a boat like this?
Okay, so now a boat like that will go for about $210.
Okay, so people are doing payments?
To build a new one like this, $380.
380.
380, 400,000. Just
So
like
if
this.
somebody wanted to get into this now, you're talking almost 400,000.
You're
to get a
talking a
boat.
permit 410, 415, or 115,000
For a
just a
permit?
permit for gill netting.
Okay.
And then you're talking if you want a brand new boat like that, it's going to cost you like 380.
So why are the canneries pressing you guys so hard right now?
They just power and I think they're power and they like to make lots of money and they just like to they can't. We are not a group like we used to be in the 80s, and we used to set the price for the whole state.
Is there any way to cut out the middleman here? Like, could you go direct to market?
That's what I do. A portion of my fish goes to market to other people that I've made contacts for the last 19 years.
So like direct to restaurateurs around the world, around this country?
Just one now.
Anything in the lower 48?
I do.
Where?
In Massachusetts, I have one called the Great Horse. I probably got them about 1,000 pounds of fillets, red fillets, and some king salmon.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, that's Mud Bay. This is Hawkins Island out here. You can deer hunt on there.
Does anyone live out there?
Yeah, there's cabins. There's one around that corner. There's a couple in there. Around the next point is Deep Bay, and there's a family that lives there all the time. And they come into the boat to get supplies or whatever into town.
Homesteaded.
Yeah, known them all my life.
Is there a lot of risk every time you go out? Like, okay, I got a lot of sunken costs. Are you always worried like, oh, I got to get X amount of fish?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it pretty much guaranteed that you're going to get the fish?
No, it's never a guarantee. It depends on how much time they give us to fish, and then what part of the season it is and how strong the run is.
Who is they?
Fish and Game.
Okay, so they manage all of this.
The state of Alaska's Fish and Game, yeah.
You hear this a lot, overfished seas. Are they overfished right now up here or no?
I would say no, not for salmon. The only problem we have for salmon right now is we've had some warm ocean temps. The fish that were going out into it, there wasn't the food that they normally get. The circulation out in the ocean, in the Gulf or wherever, didn't get what they needed, and so they returned smaller. A sockeye will return as a 3, 4, and 5-year-old. So if it went out as a little 1-year-old or 2-year-old, out of the lake in 2016, when it came back in 2018 or 19, it was smaller. Now this last year they cooled. The year before I think they cooled, and they're in a cooling trend.
Why is that? Just different currents?
It's just weather patterns. So last year we had a pretty cold year, and more normal than what we used to have in the 70s.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Okay. So as someone that's you're in your 60s, you've seen these seasons many a times.
Yeah.
Is all these things sort of work in cycles? Do you see any patterns, or what are your thoughts on that?
They seem to say that the warming cycle's lasting longer. It used to last for maybe 2-3 years.
Okay.
Now it might last for 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
So, and it's more often. It used to happen maybe every 20 years or something. Now it happens every maybe 10 years.
Okay.
So that's what I get. I don't know everything about that part of it, the warming cycle.
Sure.
But I know that the fish the last couple of years, the last 2 years, the fish have been getting bigger, and they're more like they used to. And then we do have an issue with king salmon through the whole state. And this is what I don't get, is the Fish and Game, the state of Alaska did a survey, and they found out that when you catch a king salmon in fresh water, it's got a 37% chance of dying before it spawns. So this year, when the kings did come in the late season, they opened it up to hook and release. And when you hook and release, those fish die. And I don't understand why the state, it's all political. We got a sports fish governor right now, and it's all political, that he won't stop the hook and release. Let them go out and catch their one fish. Let them catch their fish and take it home and eat it, not put it back in the water and let it die and not even spawn. That's common sense. Here there's a pretty good native population. Here they're not dealing with what they're dealing with up in the Yukon. Up in the Yukon, it's a lot of little communities, and they have a Yukon king salmon that's been declining because the draggers catch a lot of them. And so they can't even go out and get their subsistence king salmon anymore.
Don't the natives have some sort of protection near their
Well,
land?
you think they would, but they banded together and got like 5 or 6 native corps. filed a lawsuit to try and stop NOAA to stop these draggers from catching any king salmon.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a billion-dollar industry. But you know what? At what point? It's kind of like California had to stop stuff to get the king salmon to come back. At what point do they do it before they're all dead? Jellyfish.
Oh wow, it's massive. If you were swimming in that, you would just get destroyed, huh?
Well, I'm picking my net up right here with the reel. Watch the reel. See?
Okay.
That's bringing the net in.
Yep.
This level line stacks the level line back and forth, and you stack your net on there. And meanwhile, this is filling up, right? And when I pick a fish, I bleed it, and I put it right in there, and it swims around in there and bleeds out. They won't be able to go bang, 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 bang on the deck and cruise. They just swim around in there until they're dead.
So how many fish do you, it's like a full load?
Well, in there I put about 30 fish max, and then I do this, and I'll stop this, then I'll stop this, and once they're bled out, I'll just pull this, and the water goes out. Right, the water runs out back there, the water runs through the scupper. The fish are right on deck and they're dead.
They're on deck here.
They're right on deck, and then I get to put them in my slush ice by hand, and they never bruise.
So you're filling this all up with fish and you're walking around in the fish?
Well, if you're lucky enough to get that many,
okay,
you got to realize a good season for, a good red season for somebody is maybe 4,000 reds for the whole season.
Okay, so you can go out and get 20 at a time, stuff like that.
20 a set is a big set. My biggest set all year this year was 72.
Do you guys have internet on the boats?
You can get whatever you want.
Okay.
I don't do that. I don't have movies. I watch people that are out there fishing on a 12-hour opener. They're sitting in there watching a movie or laying down in their bunk. I'm going, how you do that? I can't do that. I got to be moving.
What are you doing? What do you do at nights when you're inside? You're just hanging out. Do you read or what?
I'll maybe read a little bit at times, and then I'll I cook my dinner and take it easy, and then I'm up. If the opener starts at 7 a.m., I'm up at 4:30.
Okay.
I get up, I have my quiet cup of coffee with God, and then I have my breakfast, and then about half an hour before the opener, I pull my anchor and go decide where I want to fish. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to put my boots on. Wait, because this thing's a little tippy. I don't know how your balance is. Let me get all situated. I want you to step in, and then I want you to sit on that back heel there.
Okay.
Okay, hang on while you step. So you get your balance. Good?
Yeah.
There you go.
Like a pro?
That's what my wife
Like a
says.
pro?
She cracks the whip when I'm bringing her in to do blueberries. Goes, row.
You get blueberries out here?
Oh yeah, lots of blueberries. We got a lot of nagoonberry. You'll get some nagoonberry tonight.
On the island?
Not only salmon berries and blueberries on the island.
There's that jelly. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Is this the part of the story where you leave me on the island, Kory?
No.
You let the bears eat me
Why
like
would I wanna
the last victims? Look, there's a boat up here.
Oh yeah, that's probably
The bears
small.
got him.
That probably blew over from. We get really bad southeast winds here that come this way,
Okay.
and sometimes you see that old boat down the beach.
Yep.
That was blown out of an anchorage over there, all the way across, and it's stuck there forever.
So you were saying the bear situation is pretty serious out here. A ton of bears.
There's more and more all the time because nobody's hunting them. Nobody wants to take the time or energy, and for a bear, I was always taught if you shoot something, you eat it. I don't want to eat a bear, and my dad, when I was growing up in a cabin with no running water and an outhouse, I'd wake up in the morning, there'd be one looking at me, and I don't know how many my dad used to shoot. My mom we used to have a cooler behind the house underneath the eave, and she put her butter and milk and stuff in there to keep it cool because no lights, no electricity. Well, I don't know how many bears, she just stuck the gun out the back door and pulled the trigger.
How'd you grow up?
Like that. I grew up with no running water in a cabin. My mom used to pack water by hand, and we used to cut all our firewood because all we had was a fireplace.
Up in these mountains or where?
Out on the lake, on Eyak
Okay.
Lake.
So behind that ridge.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can show you the house. It's still standing.
Oh yeah, let's see that. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
we can do that. And then that's how I was raised, and working in a cannery that my mom started when I was probably 4 or 5. And she started a little small cannery business, and it grew into being quite big, where her fish went all across the world by 1980.
Why didn't you take over the cannery?
Because I like fishing more. So, and the cannery was a lot of hard work. We used to have to, my dad would bring in 40 kings at a time. She'd put up 200 cases of king salmon. That's 48 cans per case, 6-ounce cans. And we'd have to slime and scale those things. Then we'd have to fillet them, cut head and gut them, fillet them, hang them in the smokehouse, and shoot smokehouse. Put them in the smokehouse. We'd get 1 day break. The next day, we'd spend a 14-hour day putting them in the can. It'd be about 24 cases.
Is it like ranching? The majority of fish are caught by small family-run businesses.
Yep.
Is that the
Me,
story?
Single people. Everyone's a family. Everyone that owns one of these
Sure.
is a family. He's got kids. He's got a wife.
How many boats are going out there
450 every time.
Is that pretty stressful?
Well, yeah, I like it when there's not as many boats around. I feel like I have a better chance of catching some fish. And
Right.
with our area cut down by Fish and Game and politics, sports fish politics, we don't have as much area as we used to. My game was inside. When I grew up, I fished inside the bars all the time. Now I can't even fish inside. I got to fish outside the bars in the ocean, in the Gulf of Alaska with this little boat.
So it's none of the big corporations are out here actually catching the fish.
No.
So the big corporations can't get into the actual fishing because it takes a lot of manpower, a lot of detail, a lot of care. Why don't they get into this too? Then they would control everything.
Because then they'd need more employees. They'd have to pay their employees, and they'd have to pay their employees more than what they're getting the fish for now.
Walk us through the economics of this. What does a fisherman make out here? How does that work?
So
What are they?
I would say on an average year for a gill netter, anywhere between $60,000 and $80,000. Now
Gross.
that's gross. Now that gill netter to go do that might cost him $30,000 just in expenses, nets, insurance, fuel, groceries, whatever he's doing, his repairs, boat repairs. A lot of the younger ones that get in, they have to go down. They'll do squid down in San Francisco, or they'll do other fisheries in the state. They'll go crabbing. Like some of the gill netters are crewing on a seiner right now just so that they can make enough money to get through and make their payments.
So that $30,000 to $50,000 of net income,
Yeah.
right? How many days is someone working for that? Is that just a seasonal?
That
type
is a
thing?
seasonal thing,
Okay.
and I'll work all the way until the end of September.
From when?
Right now, from May 15th. But I do a shrimp fishery that I start April 15th.
Okay.
And I do that for 10 days usually.
So a guy like you that has his own boat, that's been doing it for 40 plus years,
Right. 52 years.
52 years, you can do a lot better than the numbers you just gave me, right?
Yeah, because I'm not just average fisherman. I used to be in the top 20, but I'm not anymore because I'm older.
What's the top 20 make?
Last year, the top 20 probably would have made 80 to 100,000.
So no one's getting super rich off this.
No, the fishermen aren't. I guarantee you, the fishermen aren't getting rich. The only reason I can make it is because I don't have payments. I don't owe anybody anything. No cannery, nothing.
Yeah.
And I market my fish to make that extra, and then I get to give what I eat to other people so they know what are true, good quality Copper River Red.
Do you
or
have
King
any
salmon.
right
Yeah,
now?
I do. I have it frozen. I feed myself. I probably go through probably about 20 pounds of reds a year and about 40 pounds of kings eaten. I probably go through about 30 pounds of halibut. Me and my wife, we probably go through about 8 deer a year and a half a moose. We have a lot better quality nowadays than what it used to be. All the boats are brine. So as soon as it comes out of the water, it's getting choked. And so your quality is usually a lot better than it was 20 years ago. And then they got all these things they can do with it. They can make leather out of it. They can do skinless, boneless. They can do pouch.
Leather out of the fish?
Yeah, leather purses and stuff out of the fish.
Fish leather?
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff.
People are buying those?
Oh, yeah. So he is one of the last Eaks.
Last Eox.
Eaks, this area, natives. One of the last. Him and his sister.
What do you mean one of the last ones?
The last one living. There's only a few of them left. His sister, he's got a son now, Dooner. I went to school with him. He's a year ahead of me. There's Eyak tribe, and then there's Tititlik, which is, they got Tlingit, they got Chugach natives. Now the natives they're very pro-development in a lot of good ways for our community. They have brought in health care. So they take care of a lot of the natives, and then they take care of even people like me that, not natives.
So the natives are doing well here?
The natives are doing really well here.
So that's not a story you hear often, is the natives thriving. But that's the story here?
For here. But you don't hear it everywhere.
Yeah, it really depends the tribe and where you're at.
Yeah, it depends on where they're at, and if they, I guess if they have a strong leadership and try and get grants.
Okay.
And a lot of grants from the government. Sometimes they favor the natives to get them, kind of help lift them up and get them where they need to be.
Sure.
And the natives around here in Tititlik and Chiniga and here, they have just blossomed really good. They've used that in a really good way for the whole community. Okay. Now they're trying to make a road back behind here, all the way out to the furthest point you can see up there past that boat. Okay. They're trying to make a deep water port to bring maybe more tourism and business here. Okay. For them, so they're really thinking forward. They're 40 by 10 high by 8 wide, and they're filling them full of fish from the canneries and shipping them out.
That much fish is coming out of here?
Oh yeah, they've already done that much, or more. They've already probably caught 20 million fish.
So that's just for one season?
That's just, and that they'll go through all that. There's more behind them.
Oh, it goes back forever then.
Probably full.
Full of fish, and then a big barge comes in?
Yeah, big barge comes in, takes them away. AML brings them to Anchorage, but a big barge probably comes, Samson or something comes in and hauls them down to Seattle and wherever they go from there.
Who's working in the cannery?
All sorts of nationalities. They bring in people from probably Mexico, from Ukraine, from the Philippines probably. Whoever they need, whoever wants to come up and work for the season. Have fun. Those are all Filipinos. There's 5 or 6 of them that are fishing now. Filipinos that have been here for 30 years. Their families have been here for 30, 40, 50 years.
They're good fishermen?
No, I didn't say that. I just said that they're getting into the fishing industry, into this part of it. Now they're lifting themselves up.
Because cannery is like the lowest level, and then this is the...
It's hard to make money in there unless you're really good at what you're doing, and what they pay, they don't pay enough for them. Okay. They do, but they work a lot of hours. So the
Filipinos are now getting into this aspect of the profession, which is going to be better.
Yeah.
They started off in canneries then.
Yeah, they'll lift themselves up. Everybody here wants everybody to be kind of lift them up. We want a great town. You don't want a starving town. We've been through so many heartaches with the oil spill, really hurt us. The oil spill cost us pinks for a few years, and it cost us our whole herring fishery. So that's gone, wiped out. We used to be the biggest herring volume in the state. 120 to 130,000 tons was here.
So what's your feeling about big oil?
Big oil sucks. They ruined my life. They paid us 6 cents on the dollar of what I lost. I almost bankrupted. And she fishes. She's really tough. Her name's Tony.
Tony?
She was married to Mike Weber. You'll meet him maybe.
Does Tony go out solo mission on?
She's just a woman. She fishes by herself. She's tougher than that.
How old is she?
She's probably about 47. 47.
Don't overshoot.
Yeah, about 47, I think. 45.
She's like 32.
She's tough. You would never realize. She might be older than that. I don't know.
It's a beautiful little downtown here.
Oh, and we have a youth center right over here.
youth center up here.
A lot of the old guys, that used to be our basketball gym way back in the 50s.
Okay. Does it get rough here?
Rough?
Broken glass, bar fights?
It must.
It's for sale. 1 million.
It is. It's been for sale for 20 years.
Okay, but beautiful old bar. Classic.
This is our hatcheries.
By hatcheries, that means you're growing the fish there and then letting them out to sea.
What they're doing is they've taken a natural egg stock out of a stream.
Okay.
They took the eggs and the milk and they put them in trays and fertilized them. And then they ran water over them all winter so they wouldn't freeze out. So all they do is during the winter when they're incubating and growing into little fry, as soon as they get a little fry, they put them into these ponds and they feed them for about till the plankton bloom comes, and then they release them, and they might only be this big. They're this big. And then they go out in the ocean, and then they feed for themselves.
Wouldn't the best fish to be one that grew up in its natural environment, not in this?
It wouldn't be any better.
It wouldn't be any better.
It'd be the same.
Okay.
Because the only thing you're doing is you're keeping them from freezing in the wintertime.
Okay.
Or drying out, or the stream not getting enough water, so they can't, they die, they suffocate and die.
Okay. So what would you tell the consumer, say someone in the lower 48 going to a restaurant in a city, like what to look for when buying fish? Because the word fresh gets overused a lot, organic gets overused a lot. It's hard to really know sometimes what's going on behind the scenes.
I would ask them where they get their fish from, because now things are supposed to be labeled.
Okay.
And if they have to get the manager, hey, I want Alaskan salmon. Are you really selling Alaskan salmon? Let me see. Prove it to me.
How do they prove it? Some certificate?
Say, I want to talk to your and your work order.
But nobody's going to do that at a restaurant.
Oh, I would.
You would?
I would.
So are there people claiming they're selling Alaskan salmon,
Yes.
but it's not?
Yeah. We got it all the time.
Isn't there regulation? Isn't there someone inspecting that?
Yeah, but there's nobody's inspecting. Everybody's on vacation.
What if you go to a fish market and they say wild Alaskan salmon? Is that to be trusted?
If you go to a market, usually they'll either say, oh, this is from the Kenai River, or this is Bristol Bay, or this is Copper River, but they'd have to have a label to prove it.
So ask where it's from in Alaska.
In Alaska.
Okay.
Where it's from, because there is a difference.
That's the
There's
pro
a
tip.
huge difference.
That's
All
the
my
pro
friends that come through here, they won't eat nothing but Copper River reds. This is the Cordova Fishermen's District United. And in here are some old things that we used to use, what we used to use in our fishery. You'll see my gaff in the CDFU table that when I bought my permit from my uncle Charlie, that was a trim color on his boat. So it's kind of cool. It's worth your time.
Do you miss the old school days at all?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
Everybody, because nobody would set from here to that sign from you then. If you did, they'd follow you around and court you the whole day.
Out at sea.
Out at sea. And
There was more respect with that stuff?
There was more respect. If you drifted down from the marker and about the time you get down past the last sign you see, then they could set.
Now it's just more of a free
Now
fall.
everybody just sets whenever they want.
Is it because there's more of a transient population coming in and out?
Yeah,
and
it's more people, and more people, they have their own idea that they don't care, like the Russian. We have a Russian fleet.
Yeah.
Some of them are just ruthless. They'll look and see if you're outside in the ocean and they see you picking fish, pretty soon you got a group of 20 Russians around you, corking you off.
Coming from mainland Russia?
Coming from, they're in our fishery. They're integrated in our fishery. When I was just young, there used to be 20 of them. They all had stern pickers. Now they all have bow pickers. Now they're all got their kids into it, and generational too.
So there's beef between
There's a little
groups.
beef between them. It's not so bad, but it's just changed the fishery. It just changed it from what it used to be. I wish it would have been back. I got great memories of how it used to be.
Yeah.
That they'll never have.
Is it because how it used to be was everyone had to come back into this town and go to the same shop together and deal with each other face to face, right?
Yeah,
So
and we used to stand together for a price. We stand together as a group.
why don't you do that now? Why can't you stand together as a group?
Because nobody's got the balls enough to try it. I mean, I don't know.
You seem to have them.
Well, I do, but you know what? I lost a dad from that. Really? He died from drinking. And I didn't want to be that way, and I could see myself trying to go that way.
Because it's so stressful standing, trying to get a group organized.
Yeah, there's
a
a lot, and then to have them listen to you and want what you want. Everybody's so individual now. It's just what they want. It's not what the group for the good or the town or the community. On the fishermen, some of them are. The locals are that way. I can talk to them like that, but not all of them. My grandpa and all the older people that lived here, they started this place. It's for the pioneers or the people that lived here, you know. You had to be here like 30 years or 20 years before you could be a member. So it's one of the last ones left in the state. I think there's only like 7 of them anymore.
What goes on in there?
What goes on in there is meetings, and then there's dancing. And then when I was a kid, we have a parade in the wintertime, the first week in February. Everybody gets dressed up. There's floats. They go down the road. They start up there and end up over here. And then they do an ice cream feed there. My grandpa used to serve me ice cream, so now I serve other kids ice cream. You see that building behind this house? It's kind of added on to the back. You can see the roof. That was my mom's cannery, the second one.
Okay.
So where I was raised in my cabin was in this one here. It didn't have all that roof stuff. It was about the size of that section right there. And our outhouse was over there, and we drank out of the creek.
Wow. You just didn't have any money? You were in those times, no money?
My dad made more money trapping than he did in the wintertime than he did fishing and a job at commercial in the summer.
Did you have electricity?
No, we had no electricity there. No TV, no nothing. So, and then when I was 13, I had my 13th birthday, we sold this house and we moved into the other house right on the other side of the creek. And then my dad built a cannery in the back.
So even though you're not getting as much for fish as you did back in the 80s, let's say, your quality of life is way above what you grew up in.
Oh, yeah. But I wouldn't say that my quality, I love it. Because I got all these woods to play in. And when you challenge yourself to say, okay, I'm going to go from that point to point B over here to this trailer and not touch the ground, I'm just going to do it tree by tree by tree by tree.
You would jump tree to tree?
I would tree to 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 tree till I got to there. Because you got to have your own fun. There's my beach. We'd have picnics on the beach. I almost drowned right out here 2 or 3 times.
On this beach?
Right. Yeah, right out here. I mean, I was floating around on a piece of foam. Flip over, not knowing how to swim, and then just go straight to the bottom and push up and grab that piece of foam and say, oh man, I made that one.
So I'm gathering there was no helicopter parenting
There's no helicopter.
Zero.
Parents were busy and you were on your own.
You think there's something to be missed from those times?
Oh yeah, it was so simple. Now everybody's got to worry about everything. What car's going to hit them, what this is going to do. Oh, somebody's going to snatch my kid or whatever, in the big cities. I have a friend that said I never had a childhood because I was always working, and we were. And so I couldn't go play baseball like my friends did or do that kind of thing. But you know what? I learned how to work. I learned you couldn't have everything in an instant. I learned that it took time and energy and hard work to get what you want and to make your own life. Okay, so that man right there is Wayne Smith. His dad was Mudhole Smith. And he started Alaska Airlines.
Mudhole Smith is his father's name.
Yeah.
I have to say these days, Alaskan is probably the best domestic carrier in the U.S.
Probably.
What do you want, you guys work?
No, Wayne. We're filming you.
You hadn't seen that.
You want to talk to him?
Sure.
You want to be on TV?
Oh, the TV.
How you doing?
Who your dad was.
he's TV.
Tell him who you were and who your dad was.
I'm Wayne. Wayne Smith. Yeah.
Okay, Wayne.
Mudhole Smith Airport is named after my dad. That's the one you came in the jet, unless you brought the helicopter.
I came in on Alaskan yesterday.
Yeah, okay, that's the airport.
So you're still fishing out here?
Well, trying to. I do it to keep myself occupied.
Okay.
And how old are you, Wayne, now?
78.
See, and he's still fishing.
Yeah, but I do it because I enjoy it, because I used to fly and all the rat race, and I enjoy fishing. A lot of these guys who grew up in it don't enjoy it that much.
I do.
Well, very few people, the guys who grew up in it.
When I quit enjoying it, I'm done.
Yeah. Well,
So
me too.
you're never
That's
going to
why I'm
retire
doing
though,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Well, if I quit enjoying it, I'm done.
Okay.
I'll do something else fun, like go hunting.
You were a pilot before?
Yeah. I grew up in aviation, so
Okay.
that's why I got the hangar here.
Oh, that's Hanger, yeah. So
yeah, see, that's
Alaskan
built in 1935. It was the first aircraft repair station in Alaska. That was when Anchorage wasn't anything.
Oh, interesting.
And they used to bring the airplanes in here to get them worked on.
Anchorage was smaller than here?
Oh, yeah. This was, I think, the second largest population. The whole Prince William Sound, everything was all kinds of people around. A lot of copper, besides the Kennecott, the railroad.
These are Blake's Canning Fancy Smoked Alaska Salmon. And my mom started that cannery in the probably in the early 60s.
Okay. So this is your garage, all styled out.
That's a cannery map from 1952 on how many canneries were in Alaska.
Over 100.
Oh, yeah.
Now how many?
Maybe 10, 12.
In the whole state?
In the whole state.
And then this net you were saying was from?
That is from somewhere in Japan. My cousin Frank has a little bit of that in him, and I don't know where he got it, but he found it and had it in his hangar down in Washington. I said, hey, that is so cool, and he sent it up to me.
So most people, when they say don't bring work home with you, you're the opposite. Work is everywhere. This is your life.
This gray stuff down the back is all fat.
Okay.
All fat too.
And the white lines?
The white line's fat too. Marbling, they call.
So a good fish is going to have thin white lines.
Yeah, and some of the farm has it, but it's just in a pen, whatever they fed it, not wild stuff. So there is a difference.
So this fish is eating plant life.
This is going into the ocean. This comes from the Copper River, goes out, sea as a jack, spends his life out there 3-4 years, comes back.
The lifespan is 3-4 years.
Up to 6.
Okay.
On a king salmon.
Wow. How long was a salmon like this?
Salmon like that would probably be about 30 pounds. Probably about that big.
So 3 feet?
Yeah. That's a smoked king salmon collar. So when I butcher my fish, I cut the collar part off, and then I have a straight piece of meat. This is brined and then smoked. This one's probably done.
So you go full heat here because you want to...
So now that is done because it's white in the middle. So I'm going to set that aside. And that just gets better and better.
Okay, and this is the cured smoked.
This is just salted for 3 minutes, taken out, and then hung in the smokehouse and smoked for about 4 hours.
So do you do this also because not only is it your living, but it's your food source? I mean, there's got to be something really valuable about doing that.
Yeah, it is. The food source is probably the most important thing to me.
Oh, okay. Even more so than the career.
I can see where that in the future, in the near future, that we could maybe not be commercial fishing anymore and only be able to do subsistence fishing. If it's depleted upriver too much, or if there's too many takers.
Okay.
And if it's reallocated too much, they could say, oh, you're not going to go fishing anymore and wipe out our whole industry.
So is there that worry every year that could happen?
It gets worse and worse every year. We get less time, less area.
Okay.
When it first started, we were supposed to get less area for 5 years to rebuild the stock. Well, they never did anything upriver to rebuild the stock. They just kept raping it. Now, we're down at year 15 to 18 years down the road, us still giving, saying, hey, we can't fish in our traditional area, and they're going wide open upriver. So it's just reallocation is all it is. So we get less, even though that the world wants to eat it.
Right.
Even though the U.S. wants to eat it, we get less, and the people up in wherever in Alaska.
Who are the people up there?
They would be. Some of them are natives who deserve the right because they actually live there.
Yeah.
But people from Anchorage that come in and pay for getting fish from fish wheels and stuff, and say, "Oh, I own a fish wheel and I can take as many as I want because there's no limit on it." they can get up to 500 kings out of a fish wheel if they want. And that's not right. Who's going to eat that many?
Each individual can get up to 500 kings.
Yeah, each owner of the fish wheel that lives in the Copper River, that own a fish wheel, they can get 500.
What's a fish wheel?
A fish wheel is a thing that goes in the water like this, and it grabs, or the water's running this way, and it's got all these like trays that scoop up the fish and put them in a basket. And some of them's fine. The people that actually do it for subsistence lifestyle, is what it's for.
Right.
It's kind of like me. They can get 250, 300, 400 fish up there in their fish wheel. I'm born and raised here. I'm an Alaskan. I only get, we can get 30 fish. That's all we can get, 30 down here for our subsistence lifestyle.
And her is not some ghost over there. It's Shauna, your wife.
Shauna, my
but
wife.
She doesn't want me on
a
camera.
family of 2 can get 30 fish, of only which 5 can be king salmon.
Right.
The rest have to be red salmon.
Absolutely delicious, I gotta say. So what do you...
Wait till you get to the end.
To the end? Okay.
End.
Okay.
And this very end.
Okay. Let me just jump in there.
There's things that are better than others.
Why is the end better?
That's the belly meat. That's where the oil's stored.
Yep.
And you're going to get better as you go.
Would you ever stop fishing?
No. I mean, if I had to and the resource needed me to stop fishing, I'm going to have to stop fishing. I don't want to.
You never want to stop.
I'd like to do this the rest of my life.
All right, guys, nice look into a fisherman's lifestyle, the challenges, the love of the craft. I had no understanding of this industry before today, and it was nice to get a little inside peek of what it's like. Lastly, I want to finish on the fact that I myself am very disconnected from my food. I eat a nice fish dish at a restaurant, and I just see that part of the process. But to see it from its source, I mean, we didn't catch fish today, but we get an understanding of what the process is like and the challenges of the industry and what people are doing to actually get our fish. I want to thank all the fishermen out there who do the hard work, deal with the challenges, and provide for all of us the wonderful food that we eat. All right, guys, thanks for coming along on that one. Until the next one.